Welcome everyone to ACE Weekly. My name is Ava Lala and I teach persons how to set up an online business as well as tips and strategies they can use in this business and also skills you can use to create your own earning opportunities. Now, Zoom is a platform that has become commonplace because of the you know what. I'm not saying the name, you know what. And it is an application that a lot of persons have depended on to keep afloat, whether it be for business, school, as well as even personal life, to keep in contact with family members. Now, Zoom is a platform that you can use in your online business in different ways. You can use it for content creation, as well as demonstrating something, communicating something you want persons to see, and so on. And also, it can be used if you need to meet with your clients that are potential persons, or you are doing interviews with prospective clients. Zoom is just a platform that you need to definitely be able to use properly. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the Zoom platform, but who here would say that they're completely proficient? They know Zoom in and out. Let me know in the chat. Do you know Zoom in and out? You know everything that there is to know about Zoom. You've explored all the options. It's something that you're comfortable with using. You use it regularly. Do you use it every day, every other day, every week? How comfortable are you with Zoom? So because of what's happening now, this definitely has been a platform that persons are more familiar with than they were maybe 2 years ago, but some persons are not where they should be. And as an online freelancer, definitely this is a platform that you need to make sure you know how to use adequately, because you can do so much for free. We all love free, right? And there's so much that you can do with the free version of Zoom. So you don't have to sign up for a paid account, but if you choose to, there is an affordable rate of $14.95. That's the plan I am on, $14.95 per month, and it allows you to get additional features. So it's all about how you plan to use it. The free one is quite adequate depending on what you want to use. So we're just going to be discussing a few tips and tricks. Some of them you know already, and some maybe you have not explored, as to how to set up your meeting and how you go about using the platform itself. So this is just basic Zoom information. So Zoom tips and tricks. Now, there are different ways to sign up for your Zoom. You have the web browser option, the direct download, and you also have the mobile app. And I would suggest that you know how to do all three, because some people may not have created a Zoom account. And if you create an account, it opens more options to you. Creating an account means that you have signed up with the platform, you have entered your email and your information that they have requested, and you have an account on the platform. And you do so by going to this URL that we have here, zoom.us. So does everyone here actually have signed up for a Zoom account? You have created an account on the Zoom website, or doing it via the Zoom application on the computer, downloaded the application to your computer. Have you done all of that? If not, definitely that's something that you need to do, because there are settings that you can create that your meetings are always being set up in that way. So you can personalize it and have things the way you need it to be. I'm sure you've been in many a Zoom sessions where things happen and you're saying, okay, what's going on here? Who's controlling the meeting? Is there a host? What's going on? I hear a mic here. I hear this person talking in the background while the host is presenting. What's going on? So you can actually set up your meeting to avoid some of those things. So after you do that, so signing up for an account, all you do, as I said before, go to zoom.usa or zoom.us, and you'll see it looking like this, and you click the sign up for free. And of course, if you have an account already, you would just click sign in after that. It's quite a simple sign up. They may have made changes to what they may ask you for, but it's not anything that you don't know the information for. So tips for scheduling a meeting. Now, once you're signed into the web application, you would need to go to the My Account section, and then you will click on meetings, and you have click schedule a meeting. And this is what it looks like after you click on my account, it will go to an area looking like this. You will see meetings, and then you would schedule a meeting. Now, when you're scheduling a meeting, there's some tips that you need to pay attention to. Now, some persons disregard some of the setting options that they have here. You need to definitely look and see what are you doing. Now, you have the option to name your meeting. Now, by default, it's called My Meeting, but you can name it anything you choose to. So it's best to choose a descriptive name of the meeting. The person who or whoever you're inviting to the meeting will see the name of the meeting. And also you can add a description if you want them to be clear about what the meeting will be about. As you see in brackets, it's optional, so you don't have to add a description. When is the meeting? What date? What time? And definitely pay attention to the time zone. So depending on where you are, the time zone depends. So if I'm in a particular time zone and you send me the meeting link, it will show what it's set up for in my particular time zone, depending on what I'm viewing. Now, we are usually on Eastern time, so you'd leave it on that if you're setting up for people here in Jamaica or otherwise. Eastern is definitely the recommended default. But what I tend to do when they change to daylight saving time, sometimes I might set the meeting for Central time when I'm setting for persons in Jamaica, because what happens is that when they get the invitation, it shows that particular time, as I was saying, it shows the time the meeting was set up for. So someone may see that the meeting is 9 o'clock because it's Eastern time. And if they're on daylight saving time, it will show as 8 o'clock. So it will show as 9 o'clock, sorry, and it's actually 8 o'clock for us when they're on daylight saving time. So the time, it varies. You have to just pay attention to what time period it is. But if you don't want to worry about anything like that, just leave it on the Eastern, and then you can maybe make a note of what time zone you're in so persons know how to accommodate their time based on where they are. You have the option to have a recurring meeting. Now, what a recurring meeting is, this is a meeting that will take place at a particular date and time, each week, each day, and so on. So what we have here with Ace Weekly is a recurring meeting. So I have the one meeting link set up for different dates and times. Well, the same time, but different dates. So you can do so instead of having to create a meeting each time and send a new link. So if you know that you're having a weekly, daily, whatever it is, you can set it up accordingly. I think the registration, I'm not sure if the registration option is available in the free version, but you do have the option in the paid version to click that they are to register for the meeting, like how this meeting was set up previously, where you would enter your email and so on. So they have that option there. Generating automatically a meeting ID. Now, when you have a Zoom account, you have a personal meeting ID. That ID will always be the same thing, and you have the option to generate a meeting ID. I would not suggest that you set up a meeting that's common with different people, strangers and everything with your personal meeting ID. This ID never changes, your personal one. So let's say you're having a meeting with whomever and people had your personal meeting ID. They can jump in on your meeting anytime they want to. So you don't want to be setting up your meetings with your personal meeting ID. That number never changes. So once someone has that, they can just pop in on your Zoom, and once the room is open, they can just be there in the meeting itself. Unless you have what's called a waiting room set up. So the benefits of the waiting room is that people can join your meeting, but you are seeing who is joining the meeting and have the option to accept them in the meeting. So you definitely have two options. It's either you have a waiting room or you have a passcode. It's one or the other. Now for this meeting, I set it up with a passcode because what the waiting room is, I would have to manually enter each person that comes on this session. So let's say this session has 100 people that will come on. I have to manually accept 100 people. and I will have started the presentation and people may have joined late and I would have to be adding them. So it depends on what kind of setup you're doing, which one you would choose. So you have to have one or the other. So if I'm having a small meeting, let's say I'm even having a meeting with 2 or 3 people, I would do the waiting room option where I can actually be prepping and doing certain things, and they won't be able to see until I let them into the meeting itself. So that's the benefits of the waiting room. We get to do some prep and stuff and allow people in when you are ready. What the passcode does is that you see it's like a password to admit to the meeting. So you may know some parts of the information, but without the passcode, you can't actually get into the meeting itself. So as you see, those two options come under security because of course it allows you control of who can be in your meeting. Now, so there's some other options as well. So here, video on off, participants on off. So with the meeting, you have the option to set it that a participant can't turn on their video without you giving them permission first. Or you have the option to allow them to be able to do so. So you can decide if you want to have these options off or you want to have them on. Now for audio, you may have seen where when you're using maybe the computer and you're logging on, you see it say join with, what you can join with. So the meeting is set up that allows you to join with either a computer audio or telephone. And as you see, there's a both options. So you can choose if you want them to be only able to add audio with a computer or just with a phone. Both, of course, is good because you're allowing dual option for people who are joining via mobile as opposed to the computer itself. A lot of people, when they're setting up their Zoom meeting, don't pay attention to these details, and they're very vital when you are going through and making sure things are set up as they need to be. Now, this is one I do not allow on a lot of meetings. Allow participants to join at any time. I don't want to be joining the meeting and somebody is already here. As in, I'm the host, right? And somebody is already here in the meeting. So this is an option I don't usually check. The only reason you may want to check it is that suppose you know that based on the time of the meeting, you may not be able to make it on the set time. Suppose the meeting is 6:30 and you know you may not make it, or you want to give persons a chance to be there and then you pop on after a while because you know that, okay, by then most will be joining. That's fine if that's what you want to do. So they would not get the option of waiting for host to start the meeting. You know about that option when you see it says host, waiting for host to start the meeting. You wouldn't get that option once they have the option checked for persons to join at any time. Mute participants upon entry. Yes, yes, yes. You don't want persons to be joining your meeting and they're joining, talking to people in the background, and you just hear all kind of noise when someone has joined. Definitely you don't want that. So mute them upon entry. Breakout room is an option that you can have the one Zoom meeting and you have partitions. You can have, as I said, breakout rooms, different areas that different things are discussed in their own setting. So it's a one Zoom meeting, but you have different parts to it. And the host can move from room to room. So where it says breakout room pre-assign, let's say I know I'm going to have a meeting and I have 30 persons that are part of this meeting. I can, and I know their information, I can assign them to different rooms based on their names and such, their emails. And once it's time to allot, or I should say break out to the room, they will already know what room they will be in. It will automatically throw them into the room that they will be in, all right? So I have someone here saying that their name is showing as something different. Okay, so remember, so we're gonna talk about that as well, about renaming being able to rename your name on Zoom, all right? So, because you can actually rename yourself. You can actually rename yourself. So let's talk about that, renaming yourself. So when you're renaming yourself, you will click on the part that says participants. If you are on the phone, yes, you would see participants, and then look for where you know your name should be. You know your device. You see what your device is. You would click on that, and there's a more option. and then you will see rename. So let me know if you see that. If not, we can talk about that at another time. Now, automatically record a meeting. It's good to do that if you know you're not going to remember to record your session. So what happens is that once the meeting starts, it automatically starts to record. So a lot of persons check that option there. Approve or block entry of users from specific countries or regions. I've never checked this option, but if you know that there's a reason you need to do so, then you can. And then you see that there's an option here to enter a name or email address for an alternative host. I've actually tried using this one time, and I think I was entering one of my other email addresses just to see if it would take it. I don't remember it taking it, not sure why, but definitely try it out and see what it allows you. And definitely you have to save after you enter all of those things. Save your changes. So let me know in the chat, have you actually set up a Zoom meeting yourself? Has anyone here actually created a meeting, scheduled a meeting, I should say? Give me a 1 in the chat. Have you scheduled a Zoom meeting? And did you go through the various options you were given? Now, settings is extremely important, as you heard me talking about. Settings is extremely important because you want to make sure that your meeting is set as it should. I'm surprised that I'm getting no's. So I'm getting 2 no's so far. The others who haven't, no, you have not set up a Zoom meeting. I am shocked. I actually am shocked. So you've only joined a meeting. So guess what? You need to be setting up your meetings because you want to be, if you're promoting your brand as well, you want to be able to invite persons to talk about your brand and what you're offering and provide value to those persons as well. As you see that these sessions that I have with Ace Weekly, sometimes I'm promoting something that I'm offering as well as providing value to you as well using the Zoom platform, as I said, which is completely free. I can use a free version to do so. So you definitely, as a freelancer, need to be exploring the options of using Zoom. There's so many options there available for you. So it's good that we're doing this session now. So after this, you know that you're going to make sure that you have created an account by going to zoom.us, and then you go from there. So the settings option, it seems like magic when you're using this area because they're saying all those things I can actually customize and I could do all those things. I did not know I could do all of those things when I'm doing my meeting. Some persons are shocked with the control that they actually have when they're doing their meeting. So definitely you need to check the main settings area. So a while ago, you saw me looking on the settings for the meeting that you're actually scheduling, but you have a settings area that you can create permanent things for your meeting. I'm going to say permanent, meaning that once your meeting is created, it has some of those settings already built in. You've already said, this is what I want. All right. Now notice that before you saw a slide that talked about meetings, setting up your settings, right? And now you see another page appear. So in Zoom, we're going to talk about that a little later. You have your toolbar in Zoom, right? You have your toolbar that has your mic and your camera and all those things. You're able to use those options as well. So we're going to be talking about that. So how do you use the different effects on Zoom? So what effects are you speaking about? Be more specific. So are you talking about the filters? Are you talking about virtual background? What are you talking about? You have to be more specific. Okay, so here we are in the settings area. So this is one of my Zoom accounts that I have. Remember, you can have a free account and you just need to have a different email address. Okay, so here we have the settings area. So you have settings for meetings. You have settings for recordings, meaning the same recording we talked about. You can set it up that it does that. So let's look at meetings. So here you have these options here: security, schedule meeting, meeting basic, meeting advanced, email notification, and other. All right. So you have all of those things. Where filters are concerned, Colleen, you actually have to go into your video settings while you're on the meeting itself, and you can add or so on. Same thing for the settings. In the settings area, I'm going to show you where you can set what your filters, you can have a filter already preset, or when you start your meeting, you can go to your video option. Each button has a little arrow beside it that gives you more options. So I soon show you that on the toolbar image I have. All right, so security, you see here that you have some options. Once this button looks like this, it means it's not turned on. So when it's turned on, it's blue. So here, with this setting right now, it's not turned on that you have a waiting room. So when it's turned on, it means that once you're creating or scheduling any meeting, by default, it will have a waiting room, and then you would have to change it. So in the settings area, you go in and decide what pre-settings you want to automatically be for all of your meetings. So you could turn on that you want to have a waiting room. Notice it says here, your settings have been updated. If you want to be able to put in a meeting passcode, turn it on. If you want to have this particular thing right here, you can turn it on. I've never used this, where it says personal meeting ID passcode. I've not used that. Here where it says require passcode for participants joining by phone. So you might decide that, all right, I want people who are joining by phone to put in a passcode. You turn that on. So you turn off options you don't want, and you turn on options you do want. So you would go through each setting area in detail and set it the way you want it, because everybody wants different things. Notice here it says if waiting room is enabled, phone only users will be placed in the waiting room. If waiting room is not enabled, phone dial in only users will. So you have to read it carefully and understand what's going. So here it says be allowed to join the meeting, be blocked, what's going to happen. All right. So you would set what you want. So the main things people set, as I said before, the waiting room, they would turn it on. They would turn on meeting passcode. You look through again here where it says schedule meeting, host meeting, host for the host video, starts meeting with video on. Nope, we ain't gonna have that, because what would happen, you know, as soon as you start the meeting, your video camera automatically is on. Do you want that? No. And here when it says start meetings with participants video on, but you can change it during the meeting. So I could have set it up in the account where once you join, your camera is on. So you'd have to quickly be turning off your camera. So you would set up the meeting accordingly. Have you ever been joined a meeting and you notice, oh my God, I'm on video? Has that ever happened to you? And you say, but I didn't turn on my video. Or you see that your mic is, we call it a hot mic, your mic is on and you don't want it on. So once I discovered these settings, I said, listen, I am going to make sure that this is off. All right. So Cindy says, no, that hasn't happened. And I'm sure you're glad about that, Cindy. So you want to make sure that these things are off if you don't want that to happen. Here you have your audio type. Remember we talked about allow participants to join before the host. That's actually turned on here, but you can turn it off. So this is just to personalize how you want your settings to be. And you have so many different options here. Mute all participants when they join the meeting. You turn that on. Remember, so we want that. So go through and see what do you want and what don't you want. Okay. So Kerry is saying they should never give host control over your video. But Kerry, it's the host. But the thing is, we can't just turn on your video. You'd get an option to request that you turn on your video, but you always have the option to turn it on if you want to. So that's that. You still have control. So don't worry about that. You still have control to do so. But based on how your Zoom itself is set up, see right here, we're hearing like somebody's mic is on. So let me mute. All right. So you remember, you as a host can mute people as well. So Kerry, let me show you what I'm talking about. By the way, cover your webcam thing in case it doesn't work, but it should work. You're gonna get, so Kerry, you're paying attention, you're gonna get a notification. You see what I'm talking about? So I asked Kerry to turn on her video, and Kerry can decide if she wants to do so or not. You got it, Kerry? Good. So you got it. You got the message. So you saw a notification that says host, or maybe it said my name, asked you to turn on the video, but you don't have to turn it on. So you always have that option. All right. So she answered by saying she would start video later. So I'm assuming she turned on the option. So Nobody can turn on your camera without your permission. They could never have that. Can you imagine? But I'm just saying the settings, based on what the settings are on your Zoom, it's all about how you would join the meeting itself. So I can set up my meeting in a certain way, but it's all about how yours is set up, your account. How is your account set up? That's why the settings are very important. And what used to happen to me is that I used to be joining meetings. I don't know if it was with my camera on or with my mic on. And I'm saying, no, man, every minute when I join the meeting, I have to hurriedly be turning off the mic or hurriedly be turning off the camera, until I realized that how I set up my Zoom account decided certain things. So that's why it's very important. Yes, Cindy, I have to hurriedly turn off that camera, because if that camera come on, yes, it wouldn't be good. You remember the picture I shared in the group, Cindy, about how the top and the bottom is? Okay, so yeah, we can't have that video turning on and you don't want it to be on. So very important that you have the settings set. Have I stressed so? Have the settings set. So I would advise you, after you create your Zoom account, remember, go to zoom.us, create it, and then you go to your settings area where you go through with a fine-tooth comb what you would want for your Zoom. How would you want your Zoom to be set up? And of course, I'm going to recommend certain settings to you, but just letting you know that you can personalize how you want it. And you can do so for the recording as well. So it's not just a meeting, recording area. So how is your meeting recorded? Here you have a local recording. Local recording means it will record to your device that you're doing the meeting on. Remember, these are hostings, not participants. So you guys know, as a participant, you have no control over this. But when you're running your own meeting, that's when this comes into play. All right. So Colleen is saying, hope everyone is here, is a part of the group. Okay, thank you, Colleen. All right, so yeah, we're having fun over in my membership area. So I was talking about a post that I made. So if in case you guys are wondering, what are we talking about? All right, so here we have local recording. So we have the button turned on, which means that my recordings can record on my computer if I choose to. And when you're choosing recordings, you have the option for local or cloud. Cloud means it's saving it using Zoom storage. But I don't think the cloud option is available with a free account. I think it's only local recordings you have with the free one, but that's quite all right. It's recording to your computer and you can get access to it. Here now it says that hosts can give participants permission to record. So if some of you may want to record the session yourself, I would have to allow you to be able to record it. You can't just record someone's meeting. You would have to get recording privileges. And you see some other options here as well. So go through and see how everything is set up. Very important. This one I would advise, save the chat for the meetings, because sometimes when you're having a meeting, you may have people giving you certain information that you requested from them. And when the meeting is over, that's gone. So having it automatically save the chat, you will be able to get access to whatever we're saying now. When I ask you questions, anything that you're saying right here, I can actually save it and look back at it if I want to, if I ask you for specific information. And we see here that there's a setting that says automatically record. So once I check this, it means that all meetings here in this account would be automatically recorded. So it's a lot to go through, but trust me, once you go through and set it the way you want it, the only time it will change if you decide to go back and change it. So personalize your Zoom settings so things are as you want it. You want to seem professional when you're doing your Zoom meeting. Have you ever been in some meetings and you're wondering what's going on here? Like, it just seems off, like completely out of control. Like, is there a host there? What's going on? You have people appearing on camera or talking out of turn or such. So even as the host, sometimes you have to pay attention to what's going on in the meeting and, control stuff. So it's good to set the meeting that, that can't happen. With these meetings, I did not set it like that because I do want to have it set where I give people the freedom to speak if I ask it to speak. So I did not set these meetings up like that. All right, but if you know that it's a setting where you're going to have hundreds of people on and you don't want people just to be able to talk out of turn, you want to request that they open their mic, then you would set it like that. So here we are where it says recommended settings for a Zoom meeting. So definitely join meetings without your mic on. You don't want to be joining the meeting and you're shouting something over to a family member or a friend, and you're joining the meeting, and then you didn't realize that you're in the meeting now and everybody hearing everything you're saying because you don't realize you have a hot mic on. All right. I actually became part of, when they have those Zoom things happen on Zoom. We've seen them, like, people are on camera and they don't remember that they're on camera doing stuff you don't want people to see, like going to the bathroom or doing other stuff. Have you seen those videos of people on Zoom doing stuff and don't realize that everybody's seeing them, right? You've seen those. So you want to make sure that you know when your camera is off. So I didn't know, it didn't happen to me, in case you thought it happened to me. I was having a session with a client, helping her with something that she needed to do. And her mother, an elderly woman, passed in the background and had no underwear on. I couldn't believe it. I'm saying, am I seeing right? Am I really seeing right? I couldn't believe it. So I was saying, I was like, could you turn your laptop screen, please? Somebody just passed in the background. And she said, oh, that's my mom. I said, yes, okay. I said she had on no bottoms, she didn't have much. It just had she had on underwear. I think I saw underwear. And so I said, turn the laptop in case she passes again, because how her laptop was set up is that it was showing behind her like a passage area. So I'm sure if she wanted to walk past again, then we would see. So have it where, no, I didn't find it funny at all. I was shocked. So join without your camera on. So set it, we know in the settings. Have a waiting room. Definitely don't allow participants to join before you. Mute them automatically when they join the meeting. So these are just some of my recommended settings. They're not a case of these are Zoom's recommended settings. These are just things I think are important when you're hosting a meeting. So auto save your chats. And I love this one. You can play a sound when someone joins or leaves. So let's say you don't have your waiting room set up. Because remember, I told you what happens with the waiting room. If you have hundreds expected, you don't want to be manually accepting in hundreds. So what you can have is a sound when someone joins or leaves, but you're the only one who hears this sound. So when I have this particular meeting set up for, well, all my meetings, and what happens is once you join, I hear ta-ting, ta-ting. So I hear when you join. So let's say I was doing something that I shouldn't have been doing or whatever, I would know to stop because I heard the sound that someone is on. So I would know that at least one person is on. So if you're having a lot of persons join at once, it's like one bag of noise, but I know that persons are joining. So that's the thing. And of course, if they drop off, like you get disconnected, then it makes a sound again. But I like the feature just to know that people have joined. So that's one I recommend as well. And allow participants to rename themselves. You do have an option that prevents persons from doing so. But when you're joining via a mobile device or a tablet, it tends to pick up the name of the tablet or the name of the phone. There's an area where when you're joining the meeting, there's an area there that allows you to rename yourself when you're joining. But some persons don't see it and come on with a device name. So know that you can rename yourself by finding your name in the participants area, and then there's a more option and you can click rename and then type it. So what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to rename you. So Denise, do you see your name now? You can see. So I can rename persons, okay? So you will see your name now. Okay, so these are recommended settings for your meeting, and allow a co-host. So I can allow where in the meeting, I can just randomly choose someone else to be the co-host in case help is needed. Now, where the host is concerned, if you're hosting a meeting, what kind of things can you do? What things are good for a host to do? So introduce yourself to everyone at the beginning. If you're going to be on camera, make sure you have a clean, work appropriate background. But if you don't, like myself, I use a virtual background, so you can do that and no one will know what's going on behind that. So I'll talk more about that when we look at the Zoom toolbar. All right. Okay, so look into the camera when talking instead of looking at yourself, and be aware of your camera angle. So sometimes when you're on camera, you tend to be looking on yourself on the screen. Because remember, when you're in Zoom and you're on camera, well, for those who have never been on camera in Zoom, you see yourself on the screen. So some people tend to look on themselves on the screen instead of looking in the webcam itself when you're speaking to the persons on the other side. So be aware of that, and be aware of your camera angle. Be aware of your lighting, audio, and video settings. So you don't want to be in the dark. You don't want to sound like you're underwater or far, far away. And where your video settings is concerned, you want to make sure that the right options are chosen. And share your screen effectively. And you need to know how to use the Zoom control menu. So we're going to be talking about some of these things. So this is just a funny example of a background. You see what's going on in this background here? Forgot to hide inappropriate art. This is just a funny way of talking about your background. You need to pay attention with what's going on around there. You see what's going on in this picture right here? Woo, that cow got a surprise right there. So you want to be aware of what's in your background. So do a test. You can turn on your video, you can turn on your webcam and look to see how things are set up behind you, and you can turn your laptop accordingly to not show certain things. So it's all about how you position yourself in the area that you are. I've done Zoom meetings where I'm in a little what you call it, a little corner, just to make sure that I'm against a wall or something, depending on how the size of where you live or where you have space to do certain things. Don't let that deter you from doing these meetings. Trust me, if there's a where there's a will, there's a way. I had a door that I used to do my sessions behind, and it was a white door. When I was on Zoom, it looked like a very bright white background. So it worked quite well. So basically, use what you have until you're able to do better. And the virtual background has helped a lot with persons who don't have a setup that is pleasing to a presentation, that may be distracting to others. So where lighting is concerned, look at that lady now. This is the same person, and do you see the difference? So on my left, we see that she is behind the light. Never be behind the light. You're going to appear, we're not going to see you. Don't have the light above you either. The light should be in front of you, So you could have a lamp that you're shining in front of you. We all know about ring lights and things like those. That's equipment that some people buy when they're doing video. You don't have to have a ring light. You can have a regular lamp with a lamp shade if you have that, and take the lamp shade off and have the light bright in front of you. That's an option. If you're doing your video in the day and you're able to sit in front of a window, natural light is always good lighting, right? So how do you set up the virtual background? I'm going to talk about that soon. So you see the difference between the left and the right. You definitely want to be looking like the right, where people can see you. It's very distracting when someone is on video and you can't really see them properly. It's like, what's the point of them being there? Why are they showing themselves? So where my setup is, my lighting isn't the best. You notice when I'm on camera, you are seeing me. Yes, you are seeing me. So we see that Vivith, your camera is on. Vivith, your camera is on. So I've stopped Vivith's camera. Okay. So as I said, I have it set up where a person's camera can come on. All right. So definitely lighting, very important. So have the light in front of you. And as I said, if you're doing it in the day, you can make sure that you position yourself in front of a window. Camera angles. How many people have you seen do their Zoom looking like this? Have you seen this before? I've seen somewhere, I'm seeing right up in the person's nose. Be aware of your camera angles. Remember, you can see yourself. You can see yourself when you're doing the presentation. When your camera is on, you can see yourself, okay? So position and fix yourself accordingly. So we don't want to see you looking like the one on the left. We want to see you looking like the one on the right. Is it the same person, guys? Do you see the difference? What a difference adjusting the, and it's not even the camera you're adjusting, by the way. You're adjusting the position of the computer or laptop. So if a laptop you're using, you would either move it further back to see more of you. Just push it back. Or with the lid of the laptop, you can move it forward as well to adjust. So I was a part of a session one time. The person was moving left, right, up, down. I mean, the person was moving her body left, right, up, down, all over. You just move the equipment. You can stay where you are, but change the angle of the equipment. Sometimes you have to shift a little bit, but it's minimal. It's the equipment that you're moving. So we don't want to looking like the one on the left. And many a times, I do video editing and I mostly edit Zoom sessions to make them look better. And most of the times I'm seeing persons looking like this with their head looking large, and I'm seeing right up in their nostril or right up in, it's not pretty. So please do not do this. And the reason I'm stressing this, guys, and having this session, you need to be comfortable being on video, and you need to make sure that you are setting up yourself properly when you do go on video, because as a freelancer or even in a regular 9-to-5 business, people, if it's your business, people want to see you, right? And Zoom is a great way to be able to record yourself easily and for free. So here are some examples of camera angles that you don't want to have. And of course, the one on the right is just right. So here you have little headroom. So your head is cut off. You don't want to have that. But guess what? Too much headroom where she doesn't have a body. She's just a bobblehead, right? You know, ever hear about a bobblehead? So you don't want to have that. You need to have some head and some of your shoulders, shoulder part being shown. You can show right above your chest. All right, so you can show right above your chest. So Kerry, never like being in front of any type of camera, but guess what, Kerry? We need to, I don't like it either, no, Kerry. I don't like it either, but as someone running your own business, people like to see who they are working with. It makes a big difference, trust me. And it gives persons a chance to get to know you, get to know your personality and things like that. Because sometimes when people see even pictures, some people may be comfortable with sharing pictures, but not necessarily video. But a picture cannot necessarily convey who you are, like your personality and things like that. Because when people see a picture, I have a resting. If you see me just not smiling, you're saying, okay, what's on her mind? Oh gosh, she looks so serious, or she this or she that. And I'm the most fun-loving, well, I like to laugh. I like to laugh a lot. So persons may not even know that I'm like that by just seeing a still image if I'm not laughing. So being on video, it brings out your personality more. Of course, you have to get comfortable with it eventually, but definitely it's a part of business. So you want to look at the one on the right. She's nice and pleasant and smiling, right? But you don't want to be a bobblehead where just your head is showing. So some persons, guess why they show just their head alone? They're saying, I don't want to put this, see what I have on, but guess what? Your head, you can't just have your neck alone and your head. It looks weird. So you want to make sure that you're presenting well. So that's just a bit about the video. So with the screen sharing options now, you want to make sure that when you're sharing your screen, you're choosing the right thing. Many a times I see people doing presentations and they're saying something according to, they're saying, you know, they want you to comment on something that you should have heard. And you're saying, but they're not hearing one thing. Or they're playing something and you're just not hearing it clearly. So if you are sharing your screen and you know that you want persons to hear what you are doing on your presentation, you're playing a video or something that has sound, you need to make sure that you also share that as well. So you will see your Zoom toolbar right now in front of you, and you have a share button. Everybody recognizes it. There's a share button. Sometimes it's green and it says share screen. Do you identify that? So you need to make sure that you do that. Now, as the host, you also want to make sure that you set up your share options so that other persons can share their screen as well. You don't want to try to share their screen and they're not able to. So you want to make sure that you set that option up before. Now, once you click the share screen option, this comes up and you want to choose the first one under basics, the basic right here. This is the first one you're going to choose, screen, and then check share sound and check optimize for video clip. So if you're playing a video clip, then it should play better if you do than if you don't select this option. Where sound is concerned, if you don't click the share sound option, what's going to happen is that if you're playing sound, no one is going to hear. Have you ever heard like even it sounds muffled? If somebody's trying to play sound, it sounds muffled because what happens is that if they're playing the sound from their computer, it's picking up with the microphone and it sounds muffled. So the benefits of sharing the sound is that you don't have to have your microphone on when you're playing a video through Zoom, because once you're sharing your sound, it picks up the computer sound. It's not trying to play through the microphone. All right. And then of course, once you choose those things, you would click share. So the fact that I asked if people have set up a meeting, most of you said you did not. But have you ever shared your screen on a session yet? You have a case where you have shared your screen or had need to share your screen? Have you ever shared your screen on a Zoom session? Does anyone want to share their screen now? Do you want to share your screen now? Now, note that when you're sharing your screen, you do have other options as well. You can choose, if you don't choose this one right here, you have an application option, meaning, let's say you want to share a Google slide with someone, just that. You can choose the application you want to share. Let's say you want to share a video alone. You have the video open and you share the video alone and no one will see what else is on your screen. So you choose this first one if you want to share every single thing on your screen, including the desktop and all those things, all right? So people are saying, no, I don't want it. Who said that wanted to share their screen? Anybody wants to try to share screen? Note that if you, as I said, if you choose the first one, we're gonna see everything. So we don't have a brave volunteer wanting to show their screen. No one wants to share their screen. No one, anyone, going once, twice, thrice. All right. I noticed we have some people who are afraid to do certain stuff, but that's all right. Okay, so that's the share screen option. I think I click share screen again by accident. Okay, so that's the area that you do to share your screen. Now, these are some other options in the advanced area. So you see that you have all of these. I've never actually tried any of these, but know that they're there. There are advanced options when it comes to sharing your screen. And you also have this other option here for files that you would want to share. You can share files from Google Drive and all these other areas, Dropbox and so on. Haven't tried them myself, but you can test them out. Okay, so what are you saying, Una, or a Google tab? Yes, yes. So you can share a particular application. Yes, you can share a particular area of your screen. It doesn't have to be the entire screen. So in the case of the Google slide, yes, it would have been a Google, that particular Google tab I would be sharing, just that area alone I would be sharing. Now, definitely very important is the Zoom control menu, all right? Zoom control menu option. So this one here, that's what most persons look like without it being in screen share. So right here we have the microphone. When it's like this, it means that your mic is off and your video is off. So definitely you want to always look to make sure that it looks like this. So if you're saying something that you don't want anyone to hear before you even start saying it, look to see that your mic looks like this. Because if it's off, as in the line is not there, and you see it says mute, the words mute, it means that you're live. Okay, and if you see you speaking and the mic is going up and down looking green, it means you have a live mic. Okay, same for video. If the video is not off, it would say stop video here. Here it would say stop video, and you would see the line not being here. So for those who are asking about the filters and the effects and so on, when you're in the meeting itself, you just click this arrow right here and it will show you some options. It will show you some options that you can choose from, all right? Some video options. Also for the mic, it will show you mic options. So when you click this arrow here, it shows you options that you can choose for your mic, where you want your speaker to be coming from, the type of mic you want to use, and so on. There are audio settings that you can choose. And then when for video, so you can click it on your computer right now when you're with me. So look on it, click that little arrow beside each icon and you will see the options. So for video, you will see it talk about choose virtual backgrounds. For those who are asking about virtual background, do you see it say choose video filter? And then you have video settings. So video settings is where you'd go to see all the other options that we were talking about with filters and so on. So let me just wonder if that will work. Let me try something. All right, so those are options with the menu area right there. So for participants, if you want to see how many people are in the meeting, because how Zoom is, you can see how many people are in the session right now. Excluding me, we have how many people in the session now? About 11 people if you're excluding myself. And then the chat, you know, the chat area, that's where you would press that icon here if you want to say something or see what someone else had said. You see the share screen here. Record, remember as a participant, if you click record and you did not get permission to record the meeting, it would tell you that you need permission from the host. If you're doing breakout rooms, that's what you would use to use this option right here. Reactions, try it out for me, try out the reactions. When you click that button right there, you can actually choose. I'm not sure if you're going to be seeing reactions. I think that's available to you. You see different icons that you can choose. So let me try one right here. Do you see, did you see that reaction come up? You should see it on, I don't remember where the reaction showed. Did you see that reaction a while ago? You should see me doing some reactions. I'm not sure if it comes up on the screen itself or it's just going to show in the participants area with my name. I think it may show as my name. All right. So what it did, it showed beside my actual icon. So if you look in the participants area, you would see the reaction that I did. Let me do it again. Where's reactions? So you see the icon beside my name itself. Okay. So that's where you should see it. Yes, you see it. So you can try the reaction as well to see if it comes either on the screen or it comes beside your name. I'm not sure if that's a setting that you would have to choose for it to. So yes, so Cindy, I see that you did a thumbs up. So I see that. So I see it beside your name. All right. So there are just different things that you can do with the toolbar option itself. But be familiar with the control menu, the Zoom control menu, because that's what you're using in your meeting. So as I said, these arrows here give you more options. When you see this that says more and the 3 dots, it just means that more options are there for you to choose from. So you click on it and see what other options are there. Now what happens is that when you share your screen, your Zoom tool, your Zoom control menu gets smaller. So you have to actually hover over it for it to pop back up so that you can see it. The different options appear. Now, the great thing about sharing the screen, remember I told you earlier that when you saw me move from one area to the other, I went from the slide. Let me even do it right here now. I went from the slide. Right now, you're seeing the slide that says Zoom control menu, yes? All right, so you're seeing that particular slide. And I can switch and I go somewhere else. What are you seeing now? My Facebook, yes? But did you see me switch? Did anybody see me minimize and move? And did you see me doing any of those things? Did you see me doing anything like that? Me minimize and go here and go there? No, because I used, let's go back. What do you think I used? Look at the toolbar. So Vivid, you're only seeing a picture of me. All right, is anyone else seeing the screen right now? Or you're seeing a picture of me? What are you seeing? You should see the screen that says Zoom control menu. Is that what you're seeing now? All right, so, and before, did you see my Facebook? area. All right. Okay. So what did you think I did so that you didn't see me move all over the place? What did I do? Look at the control menu. What option did I use so you didn't see me transitioning? In other words, look, no, you didn't see me doing this. Minimize, then go over here, and then go back over here. You didn't see me doing any of that. And then going back to slideshow. You didn't see me doing any of that. So what did I do so that you didn't see that? In other words, it didn't look polished per se. You see me minimizing and I click over there and yes, Colleen, I paused my share. I paused my share. Now, that's a great feature that they have so that you don't see the so-called behind the scenes, like the awkward transitions from one place to the other, because you want your presentation to look polished, as seamless as an online presentation can be, because we know that things can happen and so on. You may have technical difficulties, but where as possible you can avoid some of those things, you try to. So you can use the pause share, and what that does, when you pause it, the last thing that you had on the screen, that's what persons would see. And then when it moves on now, when you move on to where you want persons to see next, you unpause, you stop, you resume share, I should say. It says resume share, and then persons can still see. And if I stop the share, what you'd be seeing is just my picture or my name. You're going to see my picture or my name. So those are just some of the sharing options that you have available there. So where Zoom is concerned, it's not a complicated platform to use, but the more you use it, the more you get familiar. There are things I learned that I didn't know that Zoom could do as well, because sometimes if you don't really spend the time going through every single area to say, all right, I've exhausted knowing how to use Zoom, they may introduce a new feature that you're not aware of. But the main thing you would need to know is how you go about hosting your meeting efficiently and so on. Now, this was just looking on how you could use Zoom for content, as in you are not content, you're hosting a meeting, etc. But you can use Zoom for content creation as well, with recording your screen. So for instance, this presentation that I'm doing for you now, I'm recording it and I'm going to send you a replay of it. So just like how I'm recording what I'm doing here, you could record what you do as well. And you could record yourself when you are doing the presentation. So what's the difference between Zoom and Loom? Zoom is a platform that allows you to have meetings with multiple persons. You can share your screen, you can show your camera, and you have other options available to you. Loom is a screen recorder. It allows you to record your screen and show video content to persons by sending a link, or you can send the downloaded video to persons. So Zoom is a meeting platform that also allows you to record what you're showing on your screen as well as yourself. But Loom is a complete recording screen software. So you can't meet anybody on Loom. You can't have a meeting on the Loom software. So that's the difference between the two. All right, so any questions on what we have done so far with the Zoom presentation? Did you learn something that you didn't know? Did you learn things that you're going to try out for yourself? You can practice using your Zoom by yourself, test out the recording option and see what happens. Watch it back to see if what you wanted to record did record. That's the only way you can get comfortable with using the software. And the great thing is that you create a free account and you can practice as much as you want with that particular account. As I always say, practice makes perfect, right? So definitely go over this session, watch and see what was done to see if you caught everything, and practice using Zoom. Zoom is a definitely powerful tool that you want to be using as an online entrepreneur. Definitely be using Zoom. Get comfortable with it. And because of what's happening with the pandemic, it's been a platform that a lot of persons transition to so that they can be a part of what's going on. All right, so Denise is asking, can you demonstrate creating a background? So it's not creating, I wouldn't be creating a background. Are you asking about the virtual background? You're asking, how do you design a virtual background? Not sure. Clarify for me, Denise. They have pre-designed virtual backgrounds that you can download for free. Let me show you. So what do you think I'm gonna do? Am I just gonna minimize and so? I'm gonna pause my screen and I'm gonna go over to google.com and show you me searching for virtual Zoom backgrounds. All right. So you have different Zoom backgrounds that are available. So you can choose which ones you want to use. So here it says Zoom virtual backgrounds. I can put free. We know that free is what we want. Free virtual Zoom backgrounds. You can look and see what's here and choose which one you want to. So let's look and see which one do we want to try. So this one says free virtual Zoom backgrounds. Let's see if they're actually free. So it says download free pack. Let's see what's going on here, if any of these. So we click on it. Does it allow us a download option? It says download for free, but let's say if it downloads with the Shutterstock watermark, which you don't want. So let's try it and see. I haven't tried any Shutterstock one. So okay, so we need a Shutterstock account. So we know that we can't get any from there. So let's go back and let's see what Unsplash has where Zoom backgrounds are concerned. This looks like paid ones as well, because you notice that it says premium, Zoom, so and so. So those aren't for free. Let's look and see what this one says. So, you know, with the internet, you have to go through and research. So do we have any here? Let's see how these are. So do they allow us to download anything? I found a nice website one time. I downloaded a bunch of Zoom backgrounds one time, but I didn't make a note of the website. So let's look and see how this is. This is taking us through a rabbit hole that we don't want to go. So let's go back. Can we go back some more? So let me type it in again. Free virtual Zoom backgrounds. And as you see here, did I spell virtual wrong? I have virtual. All right. Let's see which other ones are here. Was that the same resource? Okay, let's look at this one to see if we have anything here. So 31 Zoom backgrounds and how to change it. All right, so this popped up with some kind of offer, so I declined the offer. You see all kind of things popping up at me, right? So they're telling us how to change it. So this is what it looks like. So this is definitely, see when you click the arrow that I was telling you about beside the video icon, it will come up looking like this, just like this. If you tested it out, you would have seen. And then here you have virtual background. And then you would click this plus right here to choose your virtual background, because by default, it shows these. So you have none, and then you have these right here. And if you want to add your own, you click this little plus icon here, and you can add your own virtual background. This will take you to your computer, and you will search on your browser for the background that you want. Let's see if they have any backgrounds. So this is one right here. So I'm looking to see if there's a download option, or we'll have to just right click and save it. So right click, save image, and it's saving as that. Let me test it out. I think the webcam that I have on right now is not working. So it should, let me see. I'm just trying to see if we can test out that Zoom background that I just downloaded. All right, so let me see if I can add it. By the way, you may have the option to add a video as well, depending on the Zoom setup that you have. Okay, so let me add that. And let's see what it will show. So you see the background? You're not going to see me because the webcam isn't working. So you're not going to see me. But do you see the background? All right. So that's what that Zoom background looks like. I have, this is the one I usually use. Which one is it? I usually use this one here for the set. Or do I use this one? I use this one sometimes. You see this one here? I use this one sometimes, the books. So the reason you're not seeing me in there is that my webcam isn't working. So it is, my camera is on, but it's not showing me and the background because my camera isn't working. So it's just showing the background by itself. All right. So this setting definitely showed you how to do the background itself. These are the exact steps. So I can share the link to this particular page, and you can, maybe if you see any that you like, you can download them. So let me share the link to this page in the chat. So if you saw how I saved the image, I just right click and save as. You have some pages that allow you to click on the image and download it. Since it said source is Elite Daily, maybe Elite Daily is where we'd find the actual images that we can click on and download. You should see a download option now. Yes, it seems that way. So it seems as if this website got them from Pixabay and Pixel. So see, I follow the trail and come to where I can actually use the download option. So it's just a trial and error. You just follow the trail. So you see that this is a Zoom background that's actually on Pixabay. So you can search for different ones that you like. I think I did a search one time and just downloaded a bunch of them that I tried out. You can try them out to see if they are showing properly. You know that you have some backgrounds when you see them, you and the background look like you're blending in, or you just look like, you don't look like it's a background behind you. It just looks like fuzzy or weird. So test it out and see. Now, what I do recommend that the clothing that you wear is important, because certain clothing, if you wear white, you will blend in with the background. You're not going to see, you may see your face, but you're not going to see your body. The background will be on your body. So that's very important. Don't wear white or green or any of those colors. So I tend to wear dark, like maybe a blue or a black when I'm doing my virtual background. If you have on a patterned material and that pattern actually has like white in there, anywhere the white is, it will pick up the background. So it takes some planning when you're using the Zoom background. So be aware of your clothing and jewelry as well, because earrings, if it's a silver earring or a diamond earring, it's going to blend in with the background. You may be saying, oh, so all of those things, yes, you have to pay attention to all of those. So Denise, let me know if I answered your question about that's what you wanted to know about the background, the Zoom background. Let me know. All right, so just waiting to see if Denise is saying that's what she was asking. Just checking. Is Denise here? Oh, it seems that she may have dropped off. Okay. All right, so definitely, as I said, you're going to practice using Zoom. See how it works for you. As I said, it's good to use it as a part of your business to create content, as well as just showcase what you are doing. Meetings, be comfortable with hosting a meeting, and even as a participant, what options you have available to you, so you understand yourself what you're doing. All right, guys, so thank you so much for joining me for this week's session, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of the night. Bye, guys.